Hi everyone, welcome to Inside the Macross Collection. Macross Plus is copyright 1994 Big West Macross Plus project. Arigato gozaimasu, Big West. For many worldwide, Macross Plus is their most beloved entry in the franchise. And there are some very good reasons. One of which is, when it was released in 1994, it was released internationally. The release took place before a certain entity began causing legal issues, creating blocks for international releases from the Macross franchise. But that's another story. And if you're here watching this, you likely know, at least in general, what I'm referring to. The then very popular Manga Entertainment is who had gained the international license, and they hired the now legendary Les Claypool III, no, he does not play bass, as supervising sound editor and final mix engineer to create an English dub. And a little story about that dub. I believe it was for episode 4 of the OVA, when Les was visited by Shoji Kawamori and had a look at that dub, and famously that dub had to be improvised by Les because of reasons we're not going to get into, but Shoji Kawamori exclaimed, "Hollywood style!" Here's a fun fact. This English dub contains a young, uncredited Bryan Cranston of Breaking Bad, Malcolm in the Middle, etc. as the fighter pilot hothead protagonist is Samu Dyson. So Macross Plus was given the opportunity to reach well beyond other Macrosses in ways others were not, except for maybe Macross 2, which Les had also worked on with another lesser-known company called US Renditions. And on a side note, also in 1994, I personally have fond memory of the announcement of Macross Plus at the San Diego Comic-Con and the free swag from Macross Plus that I was able to get from it that day. Macross Plus is fantastic. It's action-packed, exciting. There's dogfighting if you're into that, with gorgeous hand-drawn animation. There's drama. There's some funny parts. And throughout the entire thing is a wonderful soundtrack that emphasizes all of this. Macross Plus is a luscious, gorgeous release. Now, in Macross, when they create Macross, there are 3 main pillars that they think of. And we're not getting into that, but we are going to talk about something related to one of the main pillars of Macross production. And that pillar is music. All of Macross has always had fantastic music produced for it. And in Macross Plus, the central fictional musical artist is Sharon Apple. And Sharon Apple just so happens to be an AI virtual idol. Okay, it's 1994, so imagine a story of an AI virtual idol, variable fighter jets, test pilots, and a love triangle. Now, especially a virtual idol is a pretty daring, innovative concept in the early 90s. An AI virtual idol is basically a prediction of the future. An AI virtual idol is a concept that was not yet realized, and only somewhat, until 2007 with the famous Vocaloid Hatsune Miku. The Macross Plus staff ran with these innovative ideas and used gorgeous animation techniques, and even adopted early, albeit limited, CG. And again, behind all this pioneering genius is the lush soundtrack composition by the amazing, prolific, and often described as eccentric, and also brand new to the scene at the time, Yoko Kanno. Macross Plus is a release that's so good, Hollywood has notoriously taken ideas from it for blockbusters like Top Gun Maverick and 2005's Stealth, starring Jamie Foxx. The work that they did in Macross Plus stands up well even to this day. In fact, it has just received a recent re-release internationally on premium BD box set, as well as, for the very first time, the soundtrack is now available on vinyl LP. Now, I know vinyl is a bit trendy right now, but I think that its release for the first time on vinyl, the Macross Plus soundtrack, I think this speaks to the love fans have for it. The subject today is a song within the soundtrack that's called Idle Talk. It is a rocking, grooving, electronic dance track with nonsensical lyrics written in French language. Like, seriously, the lyrics of the song are just kind of a jumble of French words that sound cool together. But that's fine with me. I don't need lyrics to make sense in any language. Personally, I just like music that sounds cool. It's a great track. It underscores the scene well, makes you want to move. I think that if you like music, it'd be difficult not to like Idle Talk. And that's not to say that there is anything whatsoever on the 4 separate CD releases from the Macross Plus soundtrack to dislike. All the CDs, all the tracks, there's not a dud anywhere on there. So to reiterate, the track we're talking about is called Idle Talk. And what Idle Talk appears to be is French gibberish, which is fine. The track accomplishes its goal perfectly. But what most don't notice, or they do, but they don't take the time to really listen to it, is that there's a sample from another artist's work buried within its soundscape. And that sound is of a British woman's voice. And perhaps she's on a phone call. The soundtrack's composer, Yoko Kanno, has had a prolific career spanning numerous multitude of more albums than you're actually even imagining. She has made so many anime soundtracks, video game soundtracks, and Japanese commercials that have even been turned into albums. Then there's a lot, let's just say. From Cowboy Bebop to Gundam, Macross, of course, Ghost in the Shell, Brain Powered, Darker Than Black, Wolf's Rain. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. She collaborates with a multitude of artists from various countries and acts as a conductor at concerts, and even sometimes plays piano and sings at these concerts. She creates pop, classical, blues, electronic, She mixes them, pretty much every genre. And years later, in 2007, she even returned to Macross to compose fantastic music for what has become, at least in Japan, the most popular entry and the one that revitalized the franchise when things were looking bleak, Macross Frontier. But Macross Plus was her first big anime soundtrack work. At the time she had come to Macross Plus, Yoko Kanno had merely gotten her feet wet, starting in the 80s, working on a track here or there for various projects. And then had, notably, at least for me, recently done arrangement for the ending theme of Miyazaki's Porco Rosso. Now, she was hired for Macross Plus. For Macross Plus, she would compose with members of the Israel Philharmonic Orchestra, as well as pop tracks and other stuff. And sometimes use the pseudonym Gabriella Robin, and created, apart from, I think, just one song, Information High, the entire soundtrack for Macross Plus. It's a great soundtrack. The whole thing, from beginning to end, is non-stop fantastic. Now back to Idle Talk. The song is sometimes heard in bits, featured, it's here and there, but the biggest chunk of the song is heard at Sharon's concert on Planet Eden while Yang is attempting to hack the AI. Now, I don't know who or when it was first noticed, but in the early 2000s, after internet became more common, some rumors circulated in forums. Some rumors even claimed that they had read interviews with the track's singer, Akino Arai, about the shockingly pornographic language buried in the soundscape of Idle Talk. But this is BS. We now know the source of the sample. Enter Robin Rimbaud. Robin Rimbaud is a British avant-garde electronic musician, producing concerts, installations, and various recordings. For me, the most notable thing about Robin is that he's also a member of a band called Githead. Now, I'm not really familiar with that band, but Githead features Colin Newman from one of the greatest, in my opinion, early post-punk bands, Wire. Robin has a project called Scanner. And the name of it is Scanner because it is known for using police scanners at performances to create the art, along with sampling and other electronic means. And with his project Scanner, he has released a few albums, which are now available on Bandcamp. And along with that release, it is discovered that this sample in Idle Talk comes from his 1991 album titled Scanner 1. Now, Scanner 1 is a mishmash of sounds and samples and noise. It's not like there's no dance beats, you know, it's not an album you can dance to. It's just experimental avant-garde. I guess you could maybe call it ambient, just various sounds and recordings. And on that album is what appears to be possibly phone sex recording, if you remember what that is, when you would call a line, a phone line, and there would be a woman talking dirty to you over the phone. This is an older thing from the 80s, I would say. But there appears to be a British woman describing various sensations and sexual acts.
Let me hold and stroke it gently up and down. Can you feel my juice around your rock-hard cock? I'm going to kneel in front of you and take a closer look. Very nice. Let me hold and stroke it gently up and down. Can you feel my juice around your rock-hard cock?
So hey, that was pretty wild, right? There it is. An Easter egg, I guess. A dirty Easter egg. A filthy Easter egg. Thanks, Yoko Kanno. To me, I think it's pretty funny and interesting. And I just kind of wonder what led Kanno to do this. It does sound cool mixed in there when you don't know what she's saying. And I don't think it makes it any less cool when you do know what she's saying. It's just that a recording studio of Japanese, who I don't know what their English language comprehension is, worked on this. And maybe Kanno knew, but who knows? Sometimes I just wonder if anyone on the Japanese Macross staff even knows about this. And why did Kanno feel like this sample would be a good fit for the song? There's just so many funny things about her inserting it into the track. All puns intended. Yoko Kanno is an amazing artist, world-renowned. Sometimes she's accused as being heavily derivative, but what I say is, no matter what you say, music isn't created in a vacuum, and everyone will reflect their influences from time to time. Personally, I love her works, and I'm always eager for more anytime when she is involved. There are anime I don't even watch, but I listen to her soundtracks for them. Now, the last thing I'd want to do with any of this is cause harm to this piece of art or its audience. I'm just sharing this as a hardcore fanboy who loves to soak up all of the details of everything and anything associated with Macross. I mean, I have a vast collection, and as any Macross fan knows, that means I've dedicated no small fortune and a chunk of my life to pre-order hell and Yahoo auctions to achieve that. I hope this video reflects that love and interest and does not come across as any sort of a negative spin on a fantastic anime or its stellar soundtrack. As far as I'm concerned, Macross is the best of anime. Always, for me, at least creating awesome shows, but more than any other anime franchise, the very best soundtracks, which are backed by Victor Records or internationally as JVC or Denon, and now has been rebranded as Flying Dog. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate your viewership. Please like and subscribe. Thanks again.